Hey y'all! Well, time for a unboxing video, and this is exciting to me that PSvane's come out with a new line of their Summit series, which is their highest end product, which is above what's currently their Acme stuff. Could be a replacement for it. Yeah, it's a very cool new product, and they haven't released these yet. They're sending me some production samples to review, look at, and they should be coming out soon. I can update the channel, when I find out more about their production thing. So the key thing that they're telling me that's different between these and like the Horizon tubes are the metallurgy used and the coatings inside, and how quiet these tubes are going to be compared to even their, I think, are quiet Horizon tubes. They're supposed to have a really low noise floor, and they're supposed to have, more detail, clarity, kind of just a richer sound than the more budget-oriented tubes are. So, first though, they did send, and I haven't spent a lot of time with these yet, but they sent some Horizon 5 AR4 tubes, which haven't been put on the shelves yet, and they want me to hammer on them and make sure that these things are reliable. And I'm going to run these in my ST70, which is right at the limit of what a 5 AR4 is rated for. Tubes like a JJ and almost any of the new production tubes will not survive in one of those amps. And perfect test to see if they've actually created a tube that's the equal of the new old stock 5 AR4 tubes that I have been using. I've been buying a bunch of the Masashita, I know I pronounced that wrong, made in Japan units, and also getting like RCAs and other, vintage 5 AR4 tubes, and have found them to be so much more reliable than the modern tubes. I just don't buy those anymore. Even the Sovtech and stuff, I've had a couple of those fail, even in my EL34 amp that is not anywhere close to the max of the spec. So I'm hoping that these are going to have that sort of reliability, and I'll be able to start using these in my production amps instead of having to source them off eBay from new old stock. So that's an exciting thing, but we'll have more about that in the future. I want to give those at least a solid month of test time and not jump the gun and say, hey, these are reliable, and have you guys go out and buy them, and then it turns out that they do have issues. So the next thing we're going to look at is the Summit Series 6 SL7s, which is a very popular tube that a lot of amplifiers use, including my 300B amp. And you get this little booklet here, and it's got the test specs on the tubes, and she's telling me that they're very critical about making sure that they're balanced from one channel to the other, or one side to the other, and that the specs here are the spec for the tube and both sides are the same. So that lets you know that you got a match set and that all 4 triodes are going to be the same. And then here is the tube, and look how cool that looks. It's really got the look of those early globe tubes, but it does have a mica in the top. You can, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's not just a floating element. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I've got some right here. If you look at these early globe tubes, there's nothing at the top supporting the structure of the tube. It's just floating inside the bottle, and they're just kind of in the wind, as you would say. And these aren't like that, even though they share that same cool look. They're a modern take on it that does have a supporting mic at the top to support the structure. And yeah, it's nice seeing something different. I've seen these in like the ST shape, or like a mini KT88 bottle looking thing, but this globe shape is something I really like the look of. Obviously, I built a globe tube amp just because I thought they were so cool looking, and these share that same look. They've got dark colored plates, which will help with the dissipation. Not these tubes have a ton of current running through them, but they look very solidly constructed. There's a lot of parts inside holding, rods and stuff holding everything in place. So, yeah. Hopefully they will have the reliability that matches their appearance. So the next we're going to take a look at, let me get this box out of the way. Next we're going to take a look at the Summit Series 300B tubes. And again, nice packaging. Comes with a little booklet with the tube milliamp testing so that you know that they're a matched pair. And again, she said they spent a lot of time getting the tubes closely matched, which is what you would expect with a high-end tube. And again, look how cool that tube looks. And especially to have it in the same amp with these, which is what I'm planning, that's just going to have a really cool look to it. And so the other thing, they've got a nice kind of blue anodized base, which is really pretty, and it looks like the premium tube that it's being sold to be. You can tell that the glass is thick. Don't think it's quite as thick as like an EML tube, but it's definitely thicker than like the Horizon and the JJ and the Electro-Harmonics and all those other lower tier tubes. You could tell that definitely was thicker glass used to make it, which I'm not sure if that helps the sound or not. I would think that thicker glass would be less microphonic. So we've got that, but that's what they look like. So before I get into the other tube, which I haven't, actually, let's open this other box and look at the KT88 tube, and then I can tell you my initial listening impressions of this. And I want to preface that with, this is not my last video on these tubes. Tubes like this really do need to burn in for quite a while before you really can hear what they are sonically going to sound like. I know like those EML tubes, it took about 40 hours, 50 hours before they kind of opened up and really revealed their character. So I am going to tell you what I heard here, but we'll do a follow-up video probably in about a month after I've spent some time with these guys and see how I think they sound together and whether there's better combinations of a driver tube with these output tubes and vice versa, and give you all the information that I can glean from these. So the last one we have here is, again, the Summit Series, and these are KT88. And I got a quad of these so I can try them in something like the Wilsonton R8. And then also I can put them as singles in my KT120 monoblock and bias them up for a KT88 and see what they sound like. And doesn't look like anything super special. It's still got the same KT88 bottle that we're used to seeing. I do like that there's no getter blocking the plates, so there won't be any cooling problems. Most KT88s don't have that, but I've seen some that do. And I think having an open side like this is going to let the heat from the plates radiate out, and you're not going to have problems with overheating. It's got a really nice size plate fins area on the side of the tube to dissipate the heat. Seems a little larger than some of the KT88s I've seen, so that should help with dissipating heat. And it's got this really nice blue little base on it with gold pins. It just looks like a really nice tube. Now, I haven't listened to these yet, so can't comment on what their character's like. And again, it's probably going to be a few weeks until I can get around to sitting down over at my friend's house with this R8 and plugging these in and listening to them, and then biasing them up in my KT120 monos. I do have some KT88 monos planned for later this year, which hopefully these will be ideal in. So yeah, can't really comment on what these sound like, but they do look like a really nice made tube, and I just wanted to include them in this unboxing. So I did spend some time this morning listening to this 300B tube and this 6S and 7. And they definitely have a different sound from the Horizon tubes. And what I'm initially hearing out of both pairs is it feels like there's a richness to the bass that I didn't hear out of the Horizon 300B tube. And the Horizon tubes, like I've said multiple times, they really have a lot of detail and transparency to them. But they don't have the richness that like the EML 300B tube has. And the Horizon can get a little edgy, especially if you're using a whole set of them, which is interesting that I didn't hear that in my 2A3 amp. But I did in my 300B amp. I could hear that with all Horizon tubes, it was a little edgy. And this morning I just put all of these in at once. And I know that's not comparing like apples to apples, just changing the 300B tubes. But I wanted to just kind of see what this whole combo sounded like in my 300B amp. And it definitely was a big improvement over what I heard with Horizon tubes. And so, again, need to spend more time. I need to let these things really burn in. I need to switch and swap and try some different driver tube combos with the outputs, and then try, you know what I mean, all of that stuff. Didn't have time to do that yet, and I need to just let these guys burn in too before I pass judgment. But my initial impression is very positive. So, again, I'm not sure where these are going to be at on their pricing scale, and whether they're going to be replacing their Acme tubes at the top, or whether these are going to be like priced above those, or what their plan exactly is. It does say that they burn these in for 30 hours and they share some of the coating technology with their lower end tubes, but they're just a more thorough kind of implementation of the higher quality metallurgy, like I said earlier. So there'll be more information later, and I'm sure when they release these, they'll clarify all this on their website. I saw that they have coming soon on their website, and here soon. They're here at Skunky Labs. So hope you're enjoying this video, and if you enjoyed this kind of content, please subscribe to the channel. Please like the video. Thanks to all you Patreon supporters. Thanks for folks that support my channel in other ways, like manufacturers like PSvane, who send stuff to me to listen to and share with you guys what their products sound like. And I've been really impressed with this latest batch of stuff that they've sent out. Be honest, I had kind of a negative opinion of PSvane tubes from listening to some of their like budget manufacturer kind of level stuff that they were putting in, like the really cheap preamps and stuff. But they've really stepped up their game, and they're clearly shooting for higher end kind of audio market. And I think they're hitting a really good point with their stuff. So again, I appreciate all you regular viewers and other folks that help support the channel. And until the next video, have a nice day.